I love this. This is so freaking cool.
Hold on 1 second. Whenever you're ready.
What a cool, you know. Well, I'll save my wow for you guys because I just think this is just so awesome.
While I'm plugging in, you can start talking about your experience in there if you want. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I just, popped in to the Greeley, Parmenter, Harrington Lodge, post 27, and I bet there wasn't one Democrat at that table, and it was the most wonderful stop I've had so far. Veterans and their families, and Tricia behind the bar, and just the best Americans you can imagine. And I just got to tell you, I wish more Americans could just have moments like I just had, of great people, different perspectives, but affectionate for one another. But most importantly, the way that they greeted me is, to me, what exactly the country needs. Because I think they said when Democrats come in here, they kind of turn around and don't even bother saying hello, and that's part of the problem. And they were affectionate, and they were kind. As a Gold Star son, it was meaningful to be with Vietnam veterans and to welcome them home. And this is what this is all about, being in New Hampshire, standing before the voters, answering their questions, listening to their stories. And I just feel so great right now, having spent that 45 minutes in there.
So I want to turn to news of the day, and just moments before you stopped here, you filed virtually in the South Carolina ballot.
That's right.
Why didn't you go down in person? And do you think this is another snub to black voters in the state?
No, not at all. No, I filed virtually because I'm here for a couple more days. I didn't need to just do it would have been a photo op, which is what a lot of candidates do. Fill in the paperwork, get all the photos, and they get right back on a plane and go home. I'm going to be spending time in South Carolina. I can't wait. And I don't think being with voters here in New Hampshire is offensive to voters in South Carolina any more than it is offensive to voters in Michigan or Texas. I'm going to appear in front of everybody. I don't care about your politics. I don't care about your color. I don't care about your religion. I don't care about where you're from. I care about if you care about this country. And I will demonstrate that. And those who are somehow trying to paint a different picture of me is unfortunate for them, because I think they know who I really am, and I can't wait to introduce myself.
But Congressman, that was arguably the first state that you could have gained delegates. So appearing in person would have been significant. Do you plan to file in other states?
Of course. Absolutely.
Other states?
I'm going to file in as many states. In fact, we are filing right now in many states. I intend to file in as many states as possibly we can. I have to also acknowledge the truth that Bernie Sanders, I'll tell you this, I used to think that he was a sore loser when he complained about the system being rigged and the DNC and all this kind of inside baseball stuff. I got to tell you, I have some crow to eat, because he's right. And Bernie Sanders supporters saw something that I was not aware of, and I'm seeing it right now. There are barriers to entry to participate in the very democracy that the Democratic Party ostensibly is designed to actually support and amplify. And there's voter suppression going on right here in New Hampshire. Telling people that their delegates won't be seated is voter suppression. There's candidate suppression. These hurdles to get on ballots, they're offensive, they're wrong, cost millions of dollars in many cases, designed to make it difficult to participate. Not in New Hampshire. That's why there are 21 Democrats on the ballot right now. And then lastly, debate suppression. The unwillingness to actually do what you do in democracy, which is to encourage debate. They have said that they don't want to do that. As for starting here in New Hampshire, I'm going to be in every state. Can't wait to get to South Carolina. And you will see as I go through and introduce myself and meet friends and new friends all around the country who I really am. And I think we have to get back to a country that recognizes that we are all Americans, different colors, different religions, many under threat, many being persecuted, many disenfranchised. And that's true of a lot of populations in this country, including geographic populations. I want to bring some light to that, too.
Congressman,
please.
You said over the weekend, March 5th, Super Tuesday, is a point where you're going to determine the viability of your campaign going forward. Can you walk me through a little bit more of if that is still your deadline, and what that decision, what is viability to you?
Well, viability means what it means, which is, does this campaign have a legitimate chance to succeed and I become the Democratic nominee? Based on response in New Hampshire and some of the early states so far, I think the answer is going to be yes, but I'll make that decision then. And I think it's important that anybody who aspires to run for president as a Democrat, including Cornel West and others, enter the primary. That's why we have them. And I think it's important, especially considering the consequence of Donald Trump, that anybody who would endeavor to do so make that assessment in March If they're not viable, I think it's imperative to get behind whoever the nominee becomes. If that's President Biden, I will give his campaign just the same amount of energy, time, and commitment and passion as I'm giving my own. That's a commitment, and I hope it's the commitment of others as well, because democracy dies without participation. And it also dies if Donald Trump is reelected.
Congressman,
Which I might say, by the way, this is really important. The polls last night, the polls were right. All the outcomes last night basically were right on with the polls. So it's pretty incongruent to say the polls that are showing that Joe Biden and Vice President Harris are going to lose to Donald Trump in next November somehow are wrong. In fact, they are horrifying in the gaps, both in battleground states, nationally, approval ratings. The polls have been actually pretty darn close, as they were last night, and I want people to simply take notice. And I am coming to the conclusion very quickly that the only people making it easier for Donald Trump to be reelected right now are Cornel West and Joe Biden.
A couple questions. One of them was actually just your response to the election last night, specifically what happened in Ohio and in Kentucky. I just want to hear if you have any thoughts.
Outstanding night. 45-year-old Democrat wins the governorship again in a red state. Hallelujah. Goes to show candidates matter. To protect reproductive rights in Ohio, to legalize cannabis, outstanding. And best of all, it wasn't politicians doing it, it was voters doing it. And it goes to show the disconnect right now. We need to legalize cannabis. I'm afraid President Biden is not leading on that issue, and we need to. As it relates to reproductive rights, I'm the father of 2 daughters. I believe deeply in the freedom to make that choice. No government should intervene, and no man in particular should tell a woman how she should treat her body, what she can do with it or not. I'm appalled that we are still litigating something where American voters are making it clear in a red state like Ohio at a huge margin. If that doesn't wake people up, I don't know what would. And it's also clear that we don't have a Democratic brand problem. We have a Joe Biden problem. He's a good man. But we are in a horrifying circumstance based on what this entire country is saying right now. And I am trying to wake people up before it's too late.
And I just wanted to get your response to another piece of news from last night, where the House passed a resolution to censor your colleague, Rashida Tlaib. What was I know you weren't there, so you didn't vote, but how would you have voted, and what was your reaction?
I sent a note to Rashida, who is a friend, advising her that I would have voted against that censure. I did a tweet that acknowledged the same. She knows that some of the language that she's used has been hurtful. I've told her to her face that the tweet she put up that was misinformed was dangerous. But if we're going to solve the American crisis, and if we're going to solve the Mideast crisis, if they're going to solve it, it's going to take people like Rashida Tlaib and me working together, trusting one another, understanding that our life experience is dictating how we respond to these horrific attacks. I believe deeply that Palestinian lives and Israeli lives matter deeply. I believe Hamas is the enemy of Israel and Palestinians. I believe the current Israeli government, led by Prime Minister Netanyahu, is also a problem. I want to see Israelis make a choice to pursue peace. I think the settlement policy has been a disaster. And now that disaster is actually reaching our shores. And the American Jewish community understands what I'm talking about. That's why I'm really changing my approach to this. It is time for change. Hamas has to be eliminated. Palestinians have to be evacuated from Gaza to be safe. I believe that should happen in Egypt. When Hamas is eliminated, it is time to ensure there's an election in Gaza and the West Bank. I hope Palestinians choose peace. If we can choose new leadership in our country, if Israelis can, and if Palestinians can, that is the trifecta for the exact outcome that I know Rashida Tlaib wants, that I want, Jewish community wants, Muslim community wants, Arab community wants, and the world wants. And if people think that the same old people doing it the same old way, with the same old techniques is the way to proceed, go for it. But I'm telling you, that is not working, and we are now at real risk in our country because of that crisis. I want to solve it, and as president, I promise I will.
What's the impact of chants like from the river to the sea? What does that mean to you?
It's very hurtful. And why that even has to be a debate when we know what it really means is hurtful. Hamas wants to destroy the state of Israel. I'm troubled that that has been used by my colleague and others. I've made that very clear. This has to change, and I would ask that my progressive friends, my Muslim friends, my Arab friends, express the same compassion to the Jewish people and the Israeli people that I intend to express to Muslim people and Palestinians, because that's how we'll solve this. I intend to be the first Jewish president in American history, and I want to be the president that signs the documents that finally establishes a Palestinian state, because it's overdue, it's necessary. It is the only way that Israel will ever be safe and secure. It's the only way Palestinians will be safe and secure, and it will be the only way that America will be safe and secure.
I know you have a town hall tonight, but are you going to be watching? Oh, you can go
ahead.
Go ahead.
Are you going to be watching the debate?
I'm not going to be watching the debate during the town hall.
After. 'Cause your town hall ends. I know your town hall's at 7. The debate's at 3.
Look, I'm first of all, I'm thrilled that the Republicans are debating. I think Democrats.
You should debate Biden.
Yes, of course.
Have you made any calls for that?
No, not yet. I want to earn the right,
Do you
and I
plan
will.
to?
I plan to earn the right, and absolutely, I think. How can the Democratic Party profess to be protectors of democracy, encourage deliberation, and not promote debate? I do not understand how that is even possible. I don't know what realm that is possible, especially as we watch our Republican friends have a whole series of debates. Another one tonight.
What does earning the right look like?
Earning the right, what does that look like?
Yeah, is that winning New Hampshire, or is that before New Hampshire?
If I can be at 15-point support by the end of perhaps this month, I think that's a pretty good sign that there might be an appetite for people to get on stage and share some perspective. The president's a busy man. I'm a busy man. We can certainly find time to do so. And by the way, a debate does not have to be nasty and mean-spirited, in contrast to the Republican debates. I think we can have a thoughtful debate. And by the way, Marianne Williamson, there are 2 other candidates running right now. And I think it is appropriate for Democratic voters to at least once hear from the candidates who are running in their primary, making their case. If the Democratic National Committee believes it is inappropriate somehow, or somehow it is frightening, or inappropriate to inspire that, I do not know what is going on, and I will be honest about calling attention to that truth.
Let's take one last question.
One last? Yeah.
Last question. We don't know the date of the New Hampshire primary. However, one can assume it's likely 12 weeks away.
Yeah.
You're averaging 1 town hall per week.
Yeah.
How are you going to get to 120?
I'm going to have to do a lot of town halls, and a town hall doesn't necessarily have to be at a college or in a big auditorium. They can be in They can be in coffee shops and people's homes. I consider a town hall any gathering of any people to sit in front of them. And by the way, I'm trying to find people who want to host those. I want to find small businesses that want to bring them together, companies that want to have town halls. I will go anywhere at any time and be in front of any people. I don't know if there was a single Democrat in this place I just was inside, and that doesn't matter. Town halls are for everybody. That's how I learn what's important to people. And by the way, the most important issue right now is affordability. There's a massive disconnect between the Washington political industrial complex, what it thinks is important, and what every single person I'm talking to in New Hampshire and all around the country is telling me is urgent. Affordability, period. Macroeconomy, great. Job growth, GDP, that's wonderful. It's all true. Great economy, and I give the administration credit for it. But that's not what the issue is with people. They're not feeling it. And instead of telling them everything's okay, I think it's time we listen and do something about it. That's why I'm running. That's just one of many reasons that I intend to do better. It's time for change.
Can you just tell us what your dog tag?
Oh, thank you. Oh, sorry. Yeah, this is my father's dog tag. My dad, who died in Vietnam, and it's something I shared with all the men inside, including 2 Vietnam veterans. And when they see that and they look in my eyes, it's a moment that it's hard to put words to. Yeah. Thank you. A lot of sacrifice in there. A lot of sacrifice.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, everybody. And appreciate you guys, too, being on.